Hey friends, Patrick here, and today let's talk about entities and how to transfer them to the client within a .NET Web API, for instance. And the magic word here is a data transfer object, or in short, a DTO. Now, what am I talking about? Let's just have a look at this example Web API here. Now, what have I created? Here's a .NET Web API with the following entities. You see characters with an ID, a name, a class, a level, and also a list of items, which is the inventory of this character. And then we've got the item entity here with an ID, a name, a type, and a power. For instance, when the type of the item is a weapon, then this weapon's power would be the damage, for instance, that it does. So additionally, then we also have the base entity here, and here I just added a date created property, date update, and is deleted, and I just randomize the data. And then when we have a look at the controller, the characters controller here, then you see that I've got a bunch of mock characters here already. And when we try this now out, let's just open Swagger. There it is, and maybe I should have deleted the weather forecast before recording, but anyways, characters, we want to get all of them, so execute, and then you see, for instance, we've got Link, Warrior, and so on. That's great, but we also see the ID. We also see the ID of the items, and also date created, date updated for the items, for the character. And maybe this is data that you do not want to see, or even more important, maybe your user must not see them, right? So I don't know what you store in your database, but maybe you don't want the user to see the ID for some reason. So what is the option here? Well, it's clearly a DTO, and you save space, bandwidth, whatever you want to save there. Now, how would you realize that? Well, there are NuGet packages that do that for you. I can actually leave that here at the screen. And I think one of them that you already heard of is AutoMapper, but there's also another one that is pretty nice, and this one is called Mapster, and it's even easier to realize what we want to do here in this tutorial with Mapster, meaning we create new classes, which are our DTOs. They have similar properties. For instance, here the character. Let's say I just want to return the name, the class, the level, and the inventory. No ID, no dates, no is deleted flag, nothing like that. So I would create this class then. You could also use a record for that, for instance. Same thing for the item, and then we try to map them automatically with the help of Mapster. So let's do that. First step would be a new folder, for instance. You don't have to do it like that, but I think for this tutorial it's easier that way. Let's call this DTOs, and here we then add just a new class, which is the character DTO. Now, naming is a topic here. For instance, if this is then the class or the DTO that you want to use as a response in your controller, then you could also use that or name that character response DTO, or simply character response. Or if you really want to define that this is the class that works with your get call, then you could also say this is the get character response, or the get character DTO, or character get DTO. There are so many possibilities out there. Just talk to yourself or your team, project leader, I don't know, how you, or architect, how you want to name these things. For this example, I think it's easier to just call this character DTO. And now let me just copy the properties that I want to use here. All right, these are the properties. Thing is that item will not be used. I will also add an item DTO, of course. So here now, the new item DTO, add that. And again, only name, type, and power is what I want to see there, like that. And here now, this shall be the item DTO list, like that. So you see, again, character DTO, we have the name, the class, the level, and only the inventory. When we compare this again to the character here, we also have the ID. And then regarding the base entity, we also have date created, updated, and the is deleted flag. And similar, the item, here we see the name, the type, and the power. All right, and now the next step is installing Mapster, the NuGet package. So right-click your project, manage NuGet packages. And here now in browse, we are looking for Mapster. And this is the one. You see 22 million downloads, a fast, fun, and stimulating object-to-object mapper, kind of like AutoMapper, just simpler and way, way faster. All right, big words here. So let's install the latest stable version, and then we go to the characters controller again. And what do we do here now? Well, I already wrote here that we want to return characters. I could just write return OK characters. It's in essence the same thing as the list up here, right? This mock list. But there's a reason why I did it like that, because what I want to do is I want to map the character entities now to the character DTOs. And to do that, I can simply write the following: characters and then adapt. It's not known yet, but with control and period, you see I get this suggestion here to just add the reference or the using directive using Mapster. If the suggestion does not work in your case, then just add using Mapster on top of your file here. There it is, right? And then we can go down again, and then here you can tell Mapster what you want to map this to, right? You see we have the object. This is the characters list, the original object, and then you see the type destination here. So what is the actual type you want to map that to? So our original type is a list of a character, the character entity, and here now we just want to turn this into a list of character DTOs. All right, and then of course add the parenthesis, and you're done. That's it, right? Let's have a look. So let's just restart the application, and here's Swagger again, rebuilding. There we are. We should try it out. It executes, and look at that. Isn't that nice? Oh my gosh, it just works out of the box. We have no ID anymore, no date, no is deleted, just like that. Isn't it nice? I love that. So this is why I'm telling you to leave your entities alone. Don't return them, leave or return DTOs instead. But there's one more thing I want to show you, and this is a configuration of your types. And for instance, if you have more complex types and the names do not really match, but for instance, let's say here in our character DTO, instead of calling the inventory, same name as in the entity, we just say here now this is the inventory list, all right? Something like that, or inventory DTO, whatever it is. Doesn't really make sense here, but this is now a list of items. So now this is called inventory list, whatever. Now when we run this again, and now I hit try it out, I hit execute, then you see mapping does not work, right? Because Mapster doesn't know, okay, what is this inventory list? I don't see anything that is related to that or has the exact same name. So what we can do then, we can configure Mapster here. I just create a new method called configure Mapster, for instance here, and I then write, I add a new type adapter configuration like that for the following mapping. So the type source now is the character, and the destination is the character DTO. And for that, I want to add a new config, and this then looks like that. I want to map regarding the destination. So dest, this is a lambda expression here, dest, and then what do we have here? We have the inventory list, all right? And for that, what I want to use is as source, or from the source, I want to use the inventory, like that. And that's pretty much it. You only have to call this method, of course, for instance here. So configure Mapster is the name, right? I've got a new keyboard, so sometimes it's a bit hard to find the keys. But anyways, this is everything, I hope. So let's just restart the application. And there it already is. So let's see, we execute this and yep, this now works again. So again, quick look, type adapter config. So you have your source class character in our case, then the destination type. That was the term I was looking for. Then character DTO for that in new configuration. And of course you can chain that, right? You can also add another mapping and so on. If you have several properties that are not named properly or that do not have the same name. So as you can see here in this tiny example, we have a mapping, and for our destination, which is the character DTO, we've got an inventory list property. I know, an interesting name. And then in our source type, we have the inventory, and this is what Mapster has to map if it doesn't know how to do that automatically. And then you see again that we get only the name, the type, and the power, and no ID, no date, nothing like that. Isn't that nice? So that's it for today. I hope you learned something. If so, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Does help really making more of these kinds of tutorials. So please subscribe. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all my supporters on Patreon. And thank you very much for watching. I hope I see you next time. Take care.